All right, so we are on section 3.3, part B, which is factoring special situations. I don't want the statement to be heard over recording, I guess. So factoring special situations. So first off, just a little bit of notes here really quick, okay? A difference of two squares is supposed to look like this. Okay, notice the minus sign is what they mean by difference, right? Because difference means subtract, sum means add, right? So the difference of two squares, that means that the first term, you can rewrite it as something squared. So just to kind of do this, something squared minus something else squared. Okay? So you can write something squared minus something squared. That's what they mean by difference of two squares. Once you can set it up like that, then you automatically do the following. You're going to make two parentheses. Okay, just like that. You're going to write two parentheses. You're going to put your A's in the front of those parentheses, the B's in the back, and then just put a minus and a plus. There's no X method to this, okay? It's just literally notice the pattern and write it down. That's all you're doing. Okay, notice the pattern and write it down. Now, sometimes people are like, I don't understand what that means. That's way too many letters, not enough numbers. How does it look? Again, I know you guys have seen this before, so we did the even ones last time. Let's do the odd ones this time. Okay, so let's start with number 1. Okay, so number 1, they just want us to factor this using a difference of two squares. Now, some of you guys might be really good at this, and you can already say, oh, that's x minus 5, x plus 5. I get that. And that's good. But if you're not like that, then let me just show you what you're supposed to do. You should notice that it's two terms and a subtraction in the middle. That's usually a quick hint that might be a difference of two squares, that there's a subtraction in the middle and two terms. Now, if you notice x squared, I can rewrite it as x squared. Right? That's the same way of writing x squared, just an x squared. Minus 25, I can write it as what squared?
5 squared.
Just a 5 squared, right? Now you see the x and the 5? Those are my little patterns that I'm going to drag to my answer. Okay, so I'm going to put two parentheses, an x in the front, a 5 in the back, and then just put a minus and a plus, and you're done. You factored it. Okay, it's really quick, does not take a lot of time. Sometimes they try to make them a little bit more tricky, and we'll do some of those. But in the end, it's literally, can you break it down so that it's something squared minus something squared? There may be times where you may have to factor first. You might have to find the greatest common factor first. And I know number 9 will do that. So good, we'll at least get one of those. So let's look at number 3. So number 3 is 25m squared minus 4. Okay? So I see a minus sign. I see two terms. So again, I'm going to think maybe difference of two squares. Now we'll do the easy one first. I can write 4 as 2 squared, right? That's 4. How can I write 25m squared as something squared? Just 5m. Yeah, 5m. Okay, because 5 squared is 25, m squared is m squared. So 25m squared is right there. Once you figure that out, remember the rest is easy. You just got to put two parentheses, put your 5m in the front, put your 2's in the back, and then put a minus and a plus. Now, some people have asked me, what if I want to put a plus and a minus? That's fine. Okay, put a plus first, a minus second. No big deal. Okay, it's still going to be done correctly. For me, I put minus and plus because I'm a little OCD. Okay, so I'd rather it look like it's getting bigger, so a minus to a plus makes it kind of look like it's rising. So mentally in my head, it looks nicer that way. Okay, some of you guys might say, well, yeah, I'm OCD too, and I'd rather it go from big to little, so I'd rather see plus minus. whatever. It doesn't matter. There's no difference. They're both multiplying each other. It's fine. Okay? So just make sure that one is a minus and that one is a plus. The order does not matter. Okay? So that's number 3. Number 5. So number 5 introduces larger terms, but still nothing that's really difficult. Just take your time with it. You see 2 terms. You see subtraction. You see squares, right? So maybe difference of 2 squares again. So I'm going to set up 2 parentheses, okay, like this with the subtraction in the middle. So 16a squared, I can write that as what squared? 4a, yeah, 4a squared, because that's 16a squared if I square it. And then 25b squared would be a 5b, right? Once I have that written out, just fill in the blanks, right? We're just going to basically get 2 parentheses. And I'm going to put a 4a in the front. I'm going to put a 5b in the back. And then do minus, plus. And I'm done. Again, I'm hoping that this is nothing brand new to you guys. And if it is, well, hopefully you see this as really easy. If it's not, then hopefully it's reminding you like, oh yeah, it's not that hard. I just have to find the patterns. Okay? So, I don't have to do number 7 because I figure we already got this. We could jump to 9, but I'm just going to do it anyway because I told you I tried doing half the homework for you guys. So, we're good with that, I hope. So, 16x squared minus 4y squared, I'm going to give you a minute. Factor it for me. Okay? And then we'll do it. I'm going to pause this. So for this one, again, separate, right, into parentheses with the subtraction in the middle. Again, that's what they mean by difference of 2 squares, right? 2 things being squared. In here, you guys should have gotten a 4x, and over here on this side, a 2y. Okay? And then we're going to kind of run into a little issue. Okay? But you should have gotten this right now. Okay? 4x here, 2y, and a 2y there. And then a minus and a plus. And if you got that, so far so good. Okay? But what else could I do with that? Well, yeah, I can take out 2's, right? I can take out a 2 from this one here, and I can take out a 2 from that one there. Right? So, why didn't it work this time? Why didn't it just magically be the correct answer that it normally is? Well, you notice how 16x squared minus 4y squared, they actually have a 4 in common? If you were to take it out, it would do that for you. Now, I'm not going to make you erase everything. This is what I'm going to tell you to do. And this is like the worst way to do these problems, but I'm going to show you how to do it. You're going to factor a 2 from each parenthesis. So from the first parenthesis, take out a 2. And from the second parenthesis, you're going to take out a 2. Inside of those parentheses, you'll end up with 2x minus y, 2x plus y. And then 2 times 2, that's 4. And this is actually the correct answer. Okay, that's what the answer was supposed to be. Okay, with a 4 in the front, and then the 2x minus y, 2x plus y.
Do we have to do it that way? Or?
Well, no, I would tell you, please don't do it that way. That's the hardest way to do it. I'm going to show you example 9, the easiest way to do it. Okay, so you could also apply it to this one. Now, just so you guys know, let me just on the right side, if you would have factored 16x squared minus 4y squared properly at first, and not that you were like supposed to know right away, but it would have looked like this. I'm sorry, wrong letter, x squared minus y. It would have looked like that, and then you would just have to do the difference of 2 squares with that right here. And that 4 would have just hung out by itself. You do the trick for the difference of 2 squares here, and then you would have gotten this answer right away. Okay? That's how you do it the fast way. Is notice that you have to factor it first, do it, and then do the work. So let me show you how that looks with number 9. Okay? So I'm going to put a little star right here because that one is a little different. Okay, number 9. It's 3x squared minus 75y squared. Now notice 3 and 75 have something in common. They have a 3 in common. So I'm going to factor it out, bless you. So I'm going to write x squared minus 25y squared. So the 3 is just going to hang out by itself. I'm going to do what I did last time in the notes. I'm going to highlight that 3. In other words, don't forget about it. Okay? But we are going to do work on this thing right here. X squared minus 25y squared. So let's just pretend that that was the only problem you see. Not everything there, but just x squared minus 25y squared. So that means that I can rewrite it. Okay, remember there's a 3 right there, right? A 3 in the very front. What do I put in the first parenthesis? Right here.
3.
No, the 3's already there in the front. It's right there. An x, right? And what about in the other parenthesis? A 5 what? 5y, right? A 5y. Now I'm going to use, for just this little thing right here, I'm going to use that pattern to put my 2 parentheses, right? So I'm going to put a 3 to start, because that should be there, right? That 3 is supposed to be there. And then 2 parentheses. I'll put an x in the front of both, a 5y in the back of both, and then a minus plus, and you're done. Notice I do not need to factor anything from that remaining thing, because the x and the 5y have nothing in common. Okay? So unlike the one up there, we had a 4x minus 2y over here in this step. This is the one I'm talking about. Okay? We had a 4x and a 2y. They had a 2 in common, so that means I have to factor it. I can't just leave it like that, because they use this nice little word that always means you better factor everything, and they say completely, right? Factor completely. That means anything they have in common, you better be taking that stuff out, or else it's not done. So you'll notice they actually say that right here. It says difference of 2 squares, factor completely. Look for the GCF first. Now I'm going to tell you numbers 1 through 6, they don't have a greatest common factor. There's nothing you can factor out. But 7 through 10 you can. Okay, so look for that. So this is completing difference of 2 squares. Now turn your paper over. 11 through 14, I'm only going to do one of these, okay, because I actually don't have to do more. You guys already know how to do this. We actually learned it on Monday, okay? Just that the answers look a little different, they're the ones that have like something squared as an answer, okay? So let me show you. I'll do, it looks like either 11 or 12 might be the hardest ones. Let's go with 12, okay? I'll do number 12 for you guys. So they gave us 9n squared minus 12n plus 4. Okay? Now remember, you're always supposed to try to find the greatest common factor. In other words, do they have a number that they share? Do they have a letter that they share? If you look at these, they don't have anything in common. Sure, the 9 and the 12, they have a 3 in common, but the 4 doesn't have a 3 in common, right? And the 4 and the 12, they have a 4 in common, but that doesn't share with the 9 as well. So they don't have anything in common. So what you're supposed to do is basically start off by, well, I don't know if you want to, but I was doing this last time, writing down your ABCs, right? A was 9, B was negative 12, C was 4, and then we right away went into the X method. Okay? And on the very top, you're supposed to multiply A times C. So 9 times 4, 36. And on the bottom, you write your B value. That's your negative 12. And then you ask yourself, which 2 numbers multiply to 36 to add to negative 12? What is that? Negative 6. For both of them, right? Negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. And a negative 6 minus 6 is negative 12. Okay, go ahead. Oh, I'm doing number 12. For number 11 is positive. Yeah. That's the only reason why I did 12, because the pluses make it easier sometimes. So I went with the minus. So once I do this, I'm supposed to just do the following. Don't write this down, okay? Don't write this down. I'm supposed to put a -6 here, a -6 there, and then my letter is N, and I'm supposed to be done. But what's the problem if I do that? What did I forget? What am I supposed to do with the 9? Divide it, right? There was a little thing I did in the notes last time. I said, what happens if A does not equal 1? In our case, A equals 9. If A equals 9, you can't just leave your answer the way I did it. You have to divide. Okay? You're going to divide. I think I actually used blues last time, but by 9. Now, reduce it. This becomes -2/3. And so does this one. Okay? So now that I've divided by 9, I can write my answer like this. N minus 2/3. N minus 2/3. What do you do with the denominator? You bring it up, right? You do the whatever bottoms up if you want to. That's 3n minus 2. 3n minus 2. Well, what do we do if both factors are identical? We put them together, but what do we put? A square, right? So we get 3n minus 2 squared, and that would be your answer. This is why these are called perfect square trinomials, because when you factor them, you get the exact same factors twice. So then you put them together as one thing squared. Okay, so that's why they call them perfect square trinomials. So all your other answers for 11, 13, and 14, they should end up like that. Something squared. Okay? Other than that, 15 through 22, like I said, I was going to let you guys, you know what? Do me a favor. For 15 through 22, let's cross out a couple things. Cross out number 17. Let me do this here. Cross out number 17. We already did one of those. Let's cross out 20. And we'll get rid of number 22. Okay? So get rid of 17, 20, and 22. And do we have, this is already there. That's there. Do me a favor, cross out 18 as well. Okay? So 17, 18, 20, and 22, don't do them. I know it's review, but remember, tomorrow I'm going to make you do another review. So if you only do 4, it's okay. All right? So cross out 17, 18, 20, and 22.